Two shock WWE returns? Stone Cold Steve Austin drives a car into a woman, and John Cena beats Cody Rhodes to win a record-breaking 17th world title thanks to his wrestling heel alliance with Travis Scott. Okay, now don't worry everyone complaining, this isn't my first rodeo. It ain't over till the WWE copyright logo appears on the screen. The Rock's definitely showing up, guys. The Rock, he's definitely showing up. Okay, there's the copyright logo and still no Rock. Okay, what they're gonna do, the copyright logo's gonna go down, it's all a swerve, and then the Rock's gonna come out. Okay, now the feed's gone black. Still no Rock? Quick, to the parking lot, like when KO attacked Cody Rhodes after the show went off air. That is where The Rock is going to show up. He's going to whip Cody with his belt, the kinky sod. All right, I'm at the John Cena press conference now. The Rock should turn up here because, like, they're best buds, right? You know, no Rock. No, he's not on the Raw After Mania either, or the SmackDown After Mania, or Backlash, or Money in the Bank. Or the all-women's pay-per-view Evolution. I'm Ollie Davis, and this is the WrestleTalk news review of WrestleMania 41 Night 2 in about 10 minutes.
Support WrestleTalk!
Before I get into the review, please make sure you super kick the subscribe button. Super kick! So you know first when mine and Luke's podcast review of WrestleMania 41 Night 2 is up, along with all our Raw After Mania coverage. And join us over at patreon.com/WrestleTalk for loads more bonus videos. WrestleMania 41 Night 2 Part 3/III Section 9A opened with Stephanie McMahon telling every single one of us fans that we're part of her family. Guess we've all got another inappropriate uncle now. And welcome to WrestleMania! Night 2. Night 2 began just like how Night 1 ended, with an excellent triple threat. Bianca Belair got a bunch of people skipping rope for her entrance. Rhea Ripley got a spiky helmet coming out last because she's the biggest star. The Minute Maid sponsors told us to bring the juice, but that's against the wellness policy. And Io, the defending champion, came out first with no special entrance. It was all presumably part of establishing the story of this feud and the match. The Io is the third wheel. Rhea and Bianca got in each other's faces right at the start, ignoring Sky, but this time she took them both out. 15 minutes of non-stop three-way spots followed. It's like they had as many sequences as the Night 1 main event, but half the time to fit them in. So instead of soap opera drama, we got an all-action metal song. It was huge move after huge move after huge move. One excellent sequence saw Rhea get her boots up on Io's moonsault, for Sky to fly right into Bianca's KOD, for the pin to just get broken up by Ripley. The finish came when Rhea hit an Alabama slam on the top of the ring post from the top rope on Io. Bianca hit a KOD onto Rhea, but Io's moonsault broke it up and pinned Bianca to retain. This scuppered Belair's streak of never being pinned at Mania, and it takes the wind out of Bianca versus Ripley's rematch for next year's show. But Sky retaining was the right result for the story WWE have been telling. And she's also my favourite, so I'm happy. The first 2/3 of the Night 2 card had a really good match order, where everything felt really different from the one before. And Damien Priest and Drew McIntyre's Sin City Street Fight up next gave fun weapons spots. Drew was brilliant as always, taking a selfie at one point with a downed Priest. I thought they were focusing on McIntyre's arrogance as it would eventually cause his downfall, because Drew's biggest enemy isn't really CM Punk or Roman Reigns, it's himself. But then McIntyre went on to win really easily, barely an inconvenience. Drew pushed Priest off the top rope through 2 tables on the outside, hit a Claymore in the ring, and got the 3 count. Damien had 1 or 2 big moves, like a razor's edge through a table, but I felt he looked significantly lower down the card than McIntyre. It'll be interesting to see where Priest goes next, as I feel he's getting crowded out of the main event scene he found himself entering at last year's Mania. We've had fast-paced 3-way action. We've had tables in a street fight, and now in a totally new vibe, we've got Bron Breakker spearing everyone. I actually think Bron should be in more multi-man matches simply because it gives him more bodies to do awesome moves to. It's really saying something when Penta is in there, who I think is one of the coolest wrestlers on the planet, and I just want to see him take breakers, Frankensteiners or suplexes or spears. There were 2 other people in this 4-way though, and they were both supposed to be on the same team. Judgment Day's Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio started off working together, but in one of those great soap opera moments that has become less and less frequent in WWE recently, one faction mate turned on the other in a great spot of dramatic irony. Balor found himself leaning on the ropes closest to the hard camp, letting us see the whole crowd rise to their feet when they realized Dom was behind him in the perfect position to hit a 619. Dom went for it, but Balor blocked it, prompting their alliance to combust. Carlito kept saving Dom from getting pinned, making it feel like the Judgment Day fix was in for Dom rather than Balor, but Carlito managed to die a second time during this feud, as Bron hit an awesome spear through the announce table. Back in the ring, Dom almost had it won on Breaker, but Finn stopped him, hit his own coup de grace, but then Dom stole it back to hit a splash on Bron to become the new Intercontinental Champion. Even though he's a despicable heel who just pinned everyone's favourite Bron Breaker, the crowd exploded into cheers as Dom ran back down to the ring to celebrate for a second time. It was a fun match, a great moment, and it ramps up Balor's tension with the Judgment Day that I can't wait to see combust on the Raw after Mania in 2027. Then they showed Hank from Breaking Bad in the crowd. I don't care about all the rappers and UFC fighters. Finally, a celebrity that I both like and am familiar with their work. And not done with the surprise reveals, Randy Orton came out for his open challenge. Say his name and he appears. I believe in... The Rock? The Rock. Still not going to appear. Joe Hendry! In a brilliant reveal, TNA World Champion, not mid-card champion as you'd expect from his quick loss here, World Champion Joe Hendry was Randy's surprise opponent from out of Scotland. Randy beat Joe in 3 minutes with an RKO from out of nowhere during Hendry's trademark turnaround pose, which Orton hilariously did his own version of afterwards. Another success of card placement, this was more of an angle than a match. It was really fun and I am so happy for Joe. But this might be tough, I'm going to ask you to hold two contradictory opinions in your head at the same time. Because this is also a terrible portrayal of a world champion and no self-respecting promotion would ever sign off on this. But if you want a self-respecting promotion, don't go to TNA. I say that as a long time TNA fan. Logan Paul versus AJ Styles was the point that Night 2 started to level off for me. Up until Randy's fun pose, everything felt like it was getting better and better. The excitement building higher and higher. But while Logan versus Styles was very good technically, both in wrestling and production, with Paul's incredible vlog drone that would fly around the stadium and then return back to its spot like its laser beacon sound wave, I make that Transformers comparison just to pop Laurie, the story never really hooked in the crowd. Maybe because the feud never really captured anyone's imagination. Maybe because there wasn't a huge viral spot to jolt the crowd to their feet. Instead, they went back and forth with very well executed moves. Logan hit a Styles clash, AJ rolled through to hit another Styles clash right after, but he declined taking the brass knuckles from Karrion Kross, and he walked right into a pulverizer for Logan to win. This felt more like the first match in a trilogy rather than a climax. I know KO's injury was out of WWE's hands, but they also knew that about 2 weeks ago. In that case, I wouldn't have booked 2 mystery opponent reveals for the same night. I'd have probably moved Randy versus Hendry to night 1, so Becky Lynch's shock return here was kept as far away from Seth's heel turn as possible. She came back as the surprise tag team partner of Lyra Valkyria, fighting for the women's tag team titles against Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, which, while awesome, they showed someone crying in the crowd. I just don't get. Becky replacing Bayley at the last moment has reportedly been the plan for a while. If so, that's a clunky as all hell plan for WrestleMania. I'm hoping this builds a Becky versus Bayley feud down the line, otherwise, what a pointless swerve. This was a totally standard WWE tag match. Lyra got worked over, Becky got the hot tag, the match breaks down. Like a lot of night 1, most Raw main events were better. Becky is back and she won the tag belts with Lyra, but it all felt bittersweet, coming at the weirdly empty storyline expense of Bayley. But WrestleMania 41 is right back on track with a surprise squash match of Stone Cold Steve Austin versus a woman in the front row. Austin's music hit for him to drive down and announce the overall attendance number. Steve does this, a corporate segment to read an artificially inflated crowd figure, but he turns down a spot with The Rock in the main event of last year's Mania. What are your standards, Steve? But in a brilliantly funny botch, he drove his doom buggy into a barricade, causing a woman to fall backwards. People nearby the spot said that the WWE president himself, Nick Khan, rushed over to try to apologise and smooth things over. Before I get into the main event though, here's a word from our corporate sponsor, us.
It's Viscera!
Do you want more WrestleTalk videos? From $6.50 a month, you can get exclusive series of Monday Night War.
You can imagine a sacrifice being made at the top of this WrestleMania stage.
Tables, lists and chairs. WrestleTalk Extra and more.
So I just don't want anyone to get out.
Oh, what's the end of that sentence?
Get all that by joining us over at patreon.com/WrestleTalk now.
Support WrestleTalk!
Luke and I will have our brand new Patreon video this Friday where we're trying to fantasy book WrestleMania 52. That's 11 years away. After a couple of matches slightly off the boil though, it was time for the actual whole weekend's main event, and not just the match before the Mania intermission, John Cena versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship. Cena's entrance was brilliant. He had his normal music, but there was no traditional Cena WrestleMania ballyhoo. The only thing accompanying him was his name in white text on a black background on the stadium screens. Like WWE were using a graphics holding image until the full package arrived. He was wearing black, he didn't run down to the ring, he just walked with disdain. It was mad to think this is Cena's final WrestleMania entrance ever as an active competitor. In contrast, Cody had everything. The Codyvator, a cool skull helmet that had the face part pop open, motorbike riders zooming from left to right, Brandy and his daughter at ringside, which I thought would set them up for a spot later in the match. Just like Cena's family were also shown at ringside. America's favourite Sunday cone, the drumstick, in the cone zone. I describe the entrances so much because, really, they were half of the whole match. The actual in-ring action was more of a holding period for the final angle, where Rock, the final Dwayne Johnson, will definitely be coming out to interfere. I don't care which country you claim to be in on social media, Dwayne. You have built this whole storyline around you. You have to be here. The match was very basic. Cena isn't an in-ring genius, and the vast amount of his experience is getting worked over to make a babyface comeback, a role he ain't in anymore. But I quite like how he turned this flaw into a feature. Felt like he was doing everything at half speed. As a face, that'd make him look like a bad wrestler. But as a heel, it had the same hypnotizing effect of Jake Roberts lowering his voice to cut a promo. It emphasized all the crowd control performative gestures that he does so well. He had an almost comically basic moveset, each one of which he audibly called out loud to Cody. Punch, lariat, kick. So when he hit a tornado DDT, it felt like he just did a Phoenix Splash. It really felt like watching Hulk Hogan's basic wrestling at X8 against The Rock, all the way down to the crowd heavily cheering him and booing the actual face, Cody. But just like the end of Mania 40, that very long, basic, slow opening was all worth it for the crazy finish. So when the ref got bumped and missed Cody's visual pin, you could feel the shenanigans coming. Cena exposed the turnbuckle. He threw Cody into it and hit an AA. Near fall. And then the music hit. If you smell what Grammy Award-winning musical artist Travis Scott is cooking. Scott arrived on the ramp with his stupid replica hardcore title for The Rock to come out next. I said, for The Rock to come out next. I said, oh my God, The Rock's not coming. Scott took forever to walk down to the ring, where he just started getting involved right in front of the referee. Cody hit a crossroads on Scott to get rid of him. Cena went to use the WWE title, but Rhodes wrestled the belt off him. Yet despite the events at Elimination Chamber, despite all the mean things Cena has said to him in the build, despite Cena saying he's going to ruin wrestling and Cody is the only person who can stand in his way, Rhodes hesitated. He looked morally conflicted about hitting Cena with the belt, even though Cena had already used Scott to cheat, even though Cena had already used the exposed turnbuckle, even though Cody already scored a visible pin. Cody looked like a dork. So Cena kicked Cody in the dick. It was a bad weekend for men's private parts. Hit him with the WWE title and won the record-breaking 17th World Championship and thus ended Rhodes' year-long reign. Not even with a finisher. Cena then celebrated with Scott in the ring, with not a rock in sight. One of the best parts of Paul Levesque's booking has been how incredibly multi-layered the main event storylines are. And this is no different. It's just that it's multiple layers of shit. Last year, it took WWE's equivalent of the Avengers for Cody to defeat Roman. Here, it was just a non-wrestler rapper who carries around a fan's belt. What was the actual benefit of Cena selling his soul to The Rock? Cena already had the title shot won from Chamber. So the big benefit of aligning with the final boss was Grammy Award-winning musical artist Travis Scott to come down and not interfere very well. And why did Cody hesitate when he's already completed that part of his morally restrained character arc against Kevin Owens back at the Royal Rumble? The Rock made WrestleMania 40 arguably the greatest event in company history. But his involvement at Chamber this year, likely massively deviating from Levesque's original plans where Cena was going to turn heel here at Mania, and then not showing up at all afterwards, has significantly damaged the quality of what could have been an all-time great storyline. Instead, we got a great moment at Chamber, but not the fantastic overall Mania story we could have had. WrestleMania 41 Night 2 is 70%. Now click the video on screen to watch my review of the slightly better overall Night 1.